Hey everyone, I'm Tamara Krinsky with the Red Carpet Report. We're here tonight in Beverly Hills, where the TV Academy is honoring the writers who've been nominated this year for Emmy Awards. Hi Tamara, nice to meet you.
Hi Tamara, nice to meet you. Is it Tamara?
Yeah, it is Tamara.
Okay.
Yeah, like tomorrow, but with a New York accent.
I thought it might have been Tamar.
No, we've got the. I don't have a name
have
tag
a
on.
name tag. No, there's no place to put on that anyway. That's good.
I know. So you've been here before for this show.
I've been very lucky with that. Yes.
But this is the last time for this show.
Yes.
So how does it feel during the tour of duty, knowing it's the last time?
I was just talking to Barbara Chase about that. It's a little bittersweet.
Yeah.
I'm so much better that we're here than we're not here, but
Yes.
but it's sad. Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot, and it's such a pleasure to be recognized by your peers and to be, known as a good writer. All those things are great, and that people enjoyed the story, and I feel like that's all part of it. Not that everybody who did a good job got nominated, but it's nice to be recognized.
No, it's definitely wonderful to be recognized.
Yes.
And, a lot of people have talked about the ending of Mad Men
Yes.
and the Coke commercial and sort of what it all means.
Sure.
I'm curious, to me it feels like Don Draper has a successful ending. I'm curious if you think he has a happy ending.
I think he's happy in the sense that he managed to come through a crisis and become rejuvenated by his work and get an idea and turn his life into an idea that is valuable to other people. And it is a very upbeat idea. So in that sense, I would say yes, as much as any of us can have happiness, I think that for him, that was a vast improvement.
And that phrase that you just said, as much as any of us can have happiness, can we just talk about Joan and Peggy for a second, who are two of my favorite characters on TV ever. Tell me a little bit about the evolution of their characters and sort of the seed for each of them. What was most important to you to explore over the arc of the show with each of these women?
Well, when I wrote the pilot, Joan was just like an ancillary character, and then Christina came in to read, and she became very important to the show. I knew that they weren't going to move in together, and I knew that it was great originally just for Peggy to have someone to talk to at work. And then Joan became this other thing. Joan became this sort of she reminds me very much of women in the workplace at that time, as does Peggy. She is not a feminist. She becomes a feminist. She's the last person, in the pilot, she's talking about making enough money to get married and have a house in the country and finding a right man there. And in the end, she's the single mother starting her own business. And for Peggy, I think that the story was just about Peggy discovering, as much as those women of that time did, that it's a meritocracy, but she's going to have to be 5 times as good. And I liked the story ending, regardless of their romantic lives, which is, could have been anybody in a weird way. Those are stories. I mean, Joan did decide to have that child that wasn't her husband's, just because maybe that was her last chance to have a child. But I feel like their professional lives, that for Peggy, it was a matter, and this came from the writer's room, really. We wanted to say, what's wrong with being good at your job? She doesn't have to start her own agency. She doesn't have to be in charge of something. She's good at what she does. And it would take a long time for a woman to be a creative director, but there's no doubt that she would have been. And the greatest compliment I have for that is that many of the women, especially in advertising, insurance, other businesses that started at the time the pilot starts, really recognized her and talked about what a long journey it was and how, in a way, she doesn't even know what a pioneer she is or what a trailblazer she is. She's just stubborn and good. And that was, to me, was a great character trait.
And yet that saunter down the hallway in the glasses.
Yes, that's one of the episodes that was nominated tonight. So, I was on the fence about that. I will not lie. It was... I don't like to do too many fist pumps because I don't think you get that many in life. But there was something great about her going in hungover and saying, you know what? I know this is going to be terrible. I know there's going to be a lot of battles, but I'm going to be as tough as possible.
Well, thank you for bringing these incredible characters to screen. I miss them. I miss them.
Oh, me too. That's what I feel. I mean, the most important thing is that this work that we're nominated for, and I say we, not just because Semi and I are nominated, but it's a product of the writer's room. And it's a confusing concept to people. There is authorship in television, but it's a very, very,
So actually take a minute and explain it to people. I mean, I've been in a writer's room. I'm a writer, so I understand. Yes. But for people who hear that term and what does that mean? How does that work exactly?
I actually think people know what a writer's room is now. But you have to imagine that a lot of those names that say producer on them are writers, and they sit in a room and come up with these stories. And it's not just what if Joan gets pregnant? That's the kind of stuff I come up with. It's how it will happen. what are the circumstances? What, she is committed to her relationship, but her husband's been out of town, and she and Roger used to be together, and they end up together for some weird reason, and the next thing you know, they're being held up at gunpoint, and their pulses get racing, and all of a sudden they have this furtive, evening together. So that comes from the writer's room. And even though dialogue and execution and all those other things are sort of left to the showrunner on all shows, and it's not that you don't shoot other people's stuff, but it does go through your computer no matter what. But that is the part that you just think, like, no one can do this by themselves. And when I see people doing shows by themselves, I think you can see it. I mean, unless you have a long time, to do it, or it's a short order. But I don't know, I shouldn't say that. For me, I'm not capable of thinking up 92 hours of story, 3 stories an episode for, 8 years. I'm just not capable of doing that. So
I don't think most people are.
And I had amazing people at that. You will see, I am positive, TV shows from all of them in the future. And that's
I know a lot of people who said that a long time ago about The Sopranos writers.
Oh, really? Well, Terry Winter's here tonight, so, he's one of the best storytellers there is. So it's a pleasure.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.